welcome to LTTV, a special, well, very special edition, because I would say, and correct me if I'm wrong, Andrea, sorry, Andrea's here with me, that was rude, but correct me if I'm wrong, this could be, even on a Monday, I'd say the biggest news coming out of Leicester Tigers this week. So I thought I'd get you and another very special guest on to chat about it. Before we talk about it, Andrea, I'm going to get you to introduce our very special guest, if I can.
You can. We'd like to say a very warm welcome on this very early Monday morning to Ian Mattioli from Mattioli Woods. Ian's been a fan of the Tigers throughout your whole life, I think, Ian, it's fair to say, both personally and through the business, and we're delighted at the news that is going to come out of Welford Road later.
Yes, so Ian, first of all, I know you've done incredible things in business and lived an incredible life, but without, I guess, assuming, coming on LTTV has to be the highlight for you so far.
The absolute highlight, Sam. And seeing Andrea at 8 o'clock in the morning is also a highlight as well. I don't know whose hair looks best, but I think it's probably mine.
But at least I've got my makeup on.
Well, that makes two of us.
Okay, so now that we've had some fun, let's talk business, because a big announcement today has been made, or will be made. This is being recorded prior for all those who want to pick it apart later, and undoubtedly will. But let me be the first to say online that we have a new name of Welford Road Stadium, of which is now Mattioli Woods Welford Road. Andrea, why do we have that?
Well, we have that in thanks to Ian and his team at Mattioli Woods, who have wanted to support us and have indeed supported us through the business since 2016, and wanted to continue to do so even more now through these challenging times that we all find ourselves in. So we've been working together closely, coming up with some ideas and suggestions of how the two businesses can align further, and we're just very grateful to Ian and the team for their ongoing support, and indeed further support us as we move forward.
Ian, if I can ask you, and it might be a question Andrea doesn't want me to ask, so I'm hoping it's all signed, sealed, delivered before I ask the question. But you can understand somebody who might say, why do this in the current climate, if that makes sense?
Yeah. I think, I mean, the two teams, the Mattioli Woods team and the Leicester Tigers team, you know, have been discussing, thinking, planning around this for, you know, several months now. And it seems appropriate that, you know, a business which is largely based in Leicester, called Mattioli Woods, a business which is based in Leicester, called Leicester Tigers, really get together. But then I think you've got to look at the ambition of both. You know, we are a local brand, we're an East Midlands brand, we're also national. The Tigers is a national brand. You know, it gets lots of local support from all over the country. It's also a European brand. You know, when we all used to go on holiday, very often, you know, you're in the middle of France and you'd see a Frenchman random wearing a Leicester Tigers shirt. You know, how does that happen? It's because of the brand is really strong, and we want to be aligned to that brand. We are a business, you know, we want to get our name out there, but we're totally aware of the history over the last 100 years or so. So, you know, we didn't want to change it to something random, and it was really important that we kept the Welford Road still there. So the Mattioli Woods Welford Road Stadium is, you know, very applicable, and that enables us to continue to support the team whilst it goes through as all rugby teams are doing, such dramatic changes.
So from that perspective, where you mentioned there that the Welford Road is staying, whether it's a question for both of you or not, this was never a discussion of completely removing what is, let's get the negative out of the way, right? This was never a discussion around removing the history, or for anyone who says we're taking away from it. This is a decision based on moving forward, financial security and helping the club, of which you and the team at Mattioli Woods are doing, Ian. But from your perspective, Andrea, it's not anything about slapping in the face of history or any of those concerns people might have, is it?
No, it's not. And let's be honest. Welford Road is iconic. It's known, as Ian said, nationally, European, globally. And for us, I think we look at the new look Leicester Tigers, and it's no secret there's been a lot of changes at the club, and we're pushing forward, we're evolving, and we're changing. But we're also very proud of our history, our heritage, and as Ian mentioned, that's why there was never a question of coming away from Welford Road as the name, but it's a way for us to look forward, secure, or help to secure our future by having Mattioli Woods brand linked to it. So the Mattioli Woods Welford Road Stadium just seemed to be, it does what it says on the tin, I suppose, doesn't it?
Yeah.
From your perspective, Ian, let's talk history, because, correct me if I'm wrong, there's a little bit of an Amazon, Jeff Bezos kind of thing here, where you started Mattioli Woods in the garage at home and you've grown it into being the brand and the business it is today. Is that correct?
Yeah, I always tell people it was rather cold in our garage.
Okay.
It wasn't insulated.
Yeah.
Once you were in, you were in. But from those humble beginnings, we've been able to build up a team, very much like Leicester Tigers team, of individuals who work so much better when they're all together. And we are a local brand, 300 or 400 people in Leicester, and throughout the rest of the country in 10 other locations. We have another 300 people, but bringing those people together is really important, and that's why we want to continue to support, what is, a great local and national brand called Leicester Tigers. But I think it's more than that. I think you've got to sort of dig down into the roots, not just through history, because history happened yesterday. And sport is really all about what happens tomorrow. So, this is really what we call in business evolution. It's not revolution, it's just evolution. How does a local business, which has been successful, support its community? And, that's the real thing. The Leicester team at the moment is a fantastic team of people. The trouble is, there's other teams who are just a bit better, and we've got to realign that somehow. We've got to, again, be better than those other teams, and that needs change. It needs evolution. Sometimes it needs revolution. But altogether, I think we can get Leicester Tigers back to where they belong, which is on the top and winning cups.
You sound like someone who flies in the face of the theory that sponsors and partners only come to enjoy what's happening in the corporate hospitality box, not what's maybe happening behind them on the pitch. Without being rude, if you understand what I mean by that, I know it says 2016 on my lovely notes here about Mattioli Woods, but sounds to me like Leicester Tigers from long before then.
Well, as Andrea will know, I try to avoid the corporate hospitality as much as possible, and just like to watch the match. And of course, that's quite difficult sometimes because you have to go and say hello to a few hundred people. But sitting down and watching the match with my wife Claire, Laura, and, you know, boyfriends and partners and husbands, and, you know, grandchildren. It's really what it's all about. And you see so many families and different families now at the Tigers, and, you know, that's great.
What is it from your point of view? And when you look at the business name and obviously the brand that will now, or has been attached to the shirt for a long time, and it's obviously on a stand, and there still will remain the Mattioli Woods stand. We'll talk about that in a second. But what does it mean to you to see your family name on a team and on a venue that is so iconic and historical, and somewhere that means so much to you?
Yeah. Well, we always celebrate when Italy win the World Cup as well. I mean, it is. I mean, it's one of those things. Obviously, very proud of creating a business brand which is trusted. You know, what we do is we look after other people's money. We look after their ambitions. We look after their security. We've been extraordinarily lucky in business, but it seems that the harder we practice, the luckier we get, which is a sports sort of psychology. And, you know, putting all that together, we can move forward, and that's all we've ever tried to do. We build capacity in the business to move forward. We want to be better. We want to be bigger in the future. And I think that ambition can roll through into all the other things we do. The Leicester Tigers sponsorship is the biggest sponsorship we do. But, you know, we also sponsor Sammy Kinghorn, who is a good supporter of Leicester Tigers as well. You know, and Sammy races in a wheelchair. You know, she's a world record beater. So we like to align ourselves with people who have got real ambition and real belief that they can win, but in a nice way. You know, winning's not everything, but it really does help. And I think if you've got the community and the spirit behind you, you actually long term can't fail. And, you know, you've only got to look at the Mattioli Woods Welford Road Stadium when it's full of people, and, you know, they're cheering along, mixing with other fans, mixing with other communities, and that's where we want to be aligned. And, you know, the support that the club has got, you know, we've not mentioned Pete Tom, but, you know, Pete Tom of Breeden, he's such a fantastic supporter of the club. You know, he puts his own money into the club substantially, even through this complex period. So, you know, we want to align ourselves with people who have got those type of beliefs.
Andrew,
we just need to win a few more matches.
It's coming. It's coming.
You're telling me.
But like I said, you know, we're a great team. The trouble is, the other teams are just a little bit better. So we have to get that little bit better. And hopefully with some good support and a change, it's not a change of direction, it's evolution rather than revolution. You know, that all helps, puts the spirit back into the team.
It does.
I might have to get you in to do a team talk. Andrew, can I ask you, so, and you can't steal Ian's words here either, so you've got to come up with your own, but what is it from a Tigers perspective? Because you would have been involved undoubtedly in 2016 when Mattioli Woods came on board. What is it from a Tigers perspective? Because I know when we spoke to Tops Tiles, when they signed on, we spoke about what a club looks for as well in a partnership. It's not just about, look, it's lovely to get finance, it's lovely to get financial support, but you do also want to align yourself with partners who understand where you're going and want to share in your vision. What is it about Mattioli Woods back then and now in terms of this renewal and this evolution, I'm stealing your word, of their deal with the club? What does Mattioli Woods present to Leicester Tigers that we can learn from, that we want to learn from and we want to be a part of?
I think one of the biggest pieces for me when I first met Ian and having an understanding the story of the evolution of Mattioli Woods is looking at the humble beginnings and such a huge and respected business based head office in Leicester. For me, that's, you know, all the qualities, all of the vision, all of the goals that they aim for. It is about ambition and drive and moving forward. But park that to one side for a moment, because aligned with that is an enormous amount of work in the community that Ian and his team do. And that's really where the two teams are joined up, because when you look at what Mattioli Woods do to support both Leicester and Leicestershire, but Leicester businesses, especially through this period of time, pulling a group of us together, go, come on, what can we do? How can we get ourselves through this? What can we do to support you? Being the headline sponsor of the Rothley 10K all the time, putting money back into charity, involving and including the community in everything that they do. And I think it's not just a nod to community and charity work. It's a genuine passion and belief that look how well we've done, and we want the city and its people to come with us, that kind of thing. So I think that was one of the bigger pieces. And also, you know, really when you look at, I'm not sure Ian would want me to say this, but, you know, we are undoubtedly, you know, in a really precarious financial position. And we're doing everything we can to look at cost saving options. One of those pieces is let's close Welford Road because of the utility bills, etc. We're saving a relatively large amount of money per month by doing that. And Ian immediately, when we were just having a conversation, offered use of their facilities for us, for office space for people that couldn't work from home. So this isn't just, oh, well, we'll sign a contract, there's some money, we want our name on the Welford Road Stadium. This is a genuine partnership in every element of it that's really looking to work and promote both businesses, of course, but also the city, the county and the wider community. And that really resonates with us.
So before we get into the nuts and bolts of the deal and what it looks like in terms of what's existing and what's new, I'm going to flip back to Ian. And I know you explained it in a nice way, because I think you're being nice to me, so I understood it. But for anyone who's a little bit, well, who's a lot more cleverer than I out there, can you tell me in a nutshell, for those that don't know, what Mattioli Woods do and what the business is about?
Yeah, that's one of my favourite questions.
Perfect, I nailed it.
I mean, these days we are fully inclusive. We're a training organisation. We believe in the word betterment. What we do for our clients, and the clients are at the core of what we do, is really look after their financial position. We give them advice. We give them the administration that they need to look after their assets, their investable assets, which is pensions, personal monies, ISAs. So all of that sort of what we call wealth management, we look after for clients, and we look after it in a way in which we would also look after our own money. So we don't sort of, you know, we don't abuse clients in any shape or form. We really work with them. We have been fee-based for the last 30 years, when the rest of the industry 30 years ago took commissions. We have long-standing client relationships. Some of my client relationships go through 4 generations of the same family. So we look after all their sort of investable assets, and we do so hopefully to see those assets grow. And, you know, that sometimes is complex because investment markets come and go. And we have ongoing relationships so that we can deal with events like we're going through at the moment. You know, so one of the first things that we did with all of our clients, and you know, these days we have about 15,000 core clients. We spoke to every one of them, and it wasn't to sell them new business. It was to actually check to make sure they were okay. You know, a lot of our clients are in their 90s, 80s, 70s. And, you know, we look after a few of the great grandchildren of some of our original clients. So that is really what we do. We look after the whole finances and investments of our clients, and hopefully we'll continue to do so for the next 50 years. We're nearly 30 years old now, but, you know, we're building the strength in the business really to take it forward. To lead it through such complex times. You know, thankfully, you know, our mantra is we look after other people's money, so there is an expectation we should be able to look after our own. And, you know, I say with pride that we've not needed any support from the government at all during the COVID-19, because you know what, there's other businesses that need that support better than we do. We've continued to employ and train people. Really, as Leicester Tigers have continued to employ and train through their complex period. And, you know, I think, again, that alignment is really strong as we move forward. Hopefully, this is the start, again, as we started in 2016, of something which can be a little bit bigger for us as well. And, you know, there'll be nobody as proud as myself to see, you know, the Tigers back on top in the national cups and leagues, and back on top in the Europeans, and then supplying great players to the international teams.
Come on. Yes.
Team talk.
You could do a team talk. I'm glad you mentioned the government, Ian, because it allows me to ask the question of Andrea without her getting mad that I brought it up again. But let's call a spade. The club and Premiership Rugby and lots of clubs around the world, lots of sporting brands and teams around the world are in conversations with their own governments, with governing bodies around support at the moment. This kind of announcement, Andrea, this kind of financial injection, if you will, or support from Mattioli Woods, people might say, well, if you can go and do that, why do you need the government? But this is actually that line that we've talked about, or you've talked about publicly for a long time, about we're not putting our hands out to the government because we just don't want to do anything else, and we just think, help us get through it and then we'll go through normal business. This is an example of the proactiveness that clubs still need to keep having with their partners, new, former, renewing, if that makes sense to you.
Yeah, absolutely, Sam. I think, you know, we've always been very open that yes, we are applying to DCMS for financial support, but that support is only for us to get through this period of time. Once it was announced that, you know, we've had 6 months without our core business trading, and then the further 6 months, which came as a real kind of kick in the teeth for everybody. And of course, you understand the reasons behind it. We've said that, you know, we want to help ourselves as much as we possibly can without just going for an easy option of a handout. And, you know, if we were allowed crowds back into the stadium, we wouldn't be going for the handout. As we can't have that, we're looking for support during that period of time from DCMS, but certainly not in any way, shape or form to cover any normal business expenses, trading losses, etc. This is purely a period of time that we need to get through until we are allowed crowds back in. You know, if vaccines start to come in, which the papers are starting to talk about now, I'm not sure how prolific that will be, but it is a light at the end of the tunnel. But we just need that little bit of support, really, a lot of support to get us through the other side of it. So, yeah. For me, it's always about us there's no point as just being in a crisis management mode as a company, as a business, as a club, because we will come out the other side with support from Ian and our other partners, etc. So when we come out the other side, we don't want to sit there and look back and say, well, for the last year, we haven't been planning, we haven't been evolving, we haven't been looking to our future. We need to still manage that part of the club, of the business, and help ourselves. So yeah, very much so, Sam.
So
I think, Sam, I'd love to add something to that.
Go for it.
Sport is a real sort of leveler, and it's fantastic to watch and indeed participate. At this level, not many of us can participate, so therefore we can only watch. One of the things I've sort of rationalised during this lockdown period, I was out walking the other day with Claire, my wife, and we just came across a local football match, and there were kids playing football of probably 12, 13, and it was so refreshing to see something different during the lockdown period. So it is really important that we start to introduce fans, obviously as safely as possible, to the arena to build up that support, because people benefit from it. I know myself, you can have highs and lows during this lockdown period, and you've got to have something to look forward to. Seeing sport on TV is okay, but there's nothing like when I take the family, all of the family, it's like when a tackle comes in, I can assure you my girls, they sort of go, ooh. And that's what it's like to be at a match, and we've got to somehow get back to that. Get back to it, the base basketball, the cricket, football, rugby, local level, because it is so important, because it sorts out up here, and that's half the problem at the moment. People are not doing the same things that they were doing, and therefore are getting into a little bit of a depression. And hopefully the Tigers can drag everybody out of that. And if we win a few matches, even better. But it's just the sport. That's the criteria. Everybody needs help. The government can actually do it. The government can create money. I know we've got to pay it back at some stage. And that's coming from somebody who is historically not borrowed any money at all. Our business has never borrowed any money, but there are times when actually the government can create the debt in order to support things, because it looks like this thing, COVID, still has a year or so to go at least, but there is light at the end of the tunnel.
I'm telling you, team talk, you can do it, you can make it happen. Andrea, let's talk about the deal. So, let's start with the current stands, if you will, at Welford Road. We have the Robin Hood stand, which is the Nottingham Building Society stand. I'm getting both of those names in because to this day, 3 years into working here, I don't know what it's called. But it's one of those two, and that's fine. Let's tick the box. We have the Mattioli Woods stand. I'm pretending I'm the pitch at the moment. We have the Breeden stand and the famous terrace. And we have the Holland and Barrett stand. So let's start with the latter.
Yes.
Obviously, Holland and Barrett, after a long time, a successful time with us, are leaving, have left. What's happening with that stand?
So that stand, currently we have our top salespeople out to market, and they are selling the naming rights of that stand. Lovely.
The current Mattioli Woods stand?
Yes.
Staying as is?
Absolutely.
Do you sit in that one, Ian?
Sorry?
Do you sit in the Mattioli Woods stand?
No. I sit sort of in the middle.
I guess it's nice to look at your stand, isn't it?
It is nice to have a look at it. Yeah. We always hope there is a late penalty with a very high kick needed.
Yeah, true. Drop goal moment, everyone goes up. So, Robin Hood stand.
Robin Hood stand, yep, that's staying as is.
And just to clarify, it's called the Robin Hood stand.
It is the Robin Hood stand, sponsored by Nottingham Building Society.
Gosh, these videos are just going to be names. The Breeden stand and the terrace staying as is.
It is.
So, what I get...
Although I think it's going to have some additional advertising, isn't it, Andrea?
I think you can have a look around various stands for additional advertising to take into account the Mattioli Woods Welford Road. And I think the dugouts will be interesting when people come back and see them.
Yep.
Oh, come on. What?
That's it. That's all you're getting.
That's not in my notes. Right. So what I get out of that is there's a real local East Midlands vibe in terms of these are very successful businesses who are supporting a very successful, historically, Leicester East Midlands club at this iconic venue. You've got Breeden, you've got Nottingham, Robin Hood, and you've obviously got Mattioli Woods now on a much larger scale. There's a real local East Midlands vibe in terms of those main partners, and obviously we're not forgetting Foxes, we're not forgetting Everards, Next, and our new main partner in Tots Tiles. There's something there, isn't there, Andrea? Was that on purpose?
I think it's it goes back to what we're saying, that you look at like-minded businesses within your area and how they can work with the community, how they can support, but also how they can utilize us to promote their brand. And I think, one of the things that we always try to do is, rather than go into a partnership and it's just us and that business, it's then, well, how can we introduce that business how can we introduce Mattioli Woods to Nottingham Building Society? Is there any work that they can do together? How can we introduce Mattioli Woods to the guys at Breeden and having a look at employee benefits and various issues like that? So what we try to do is sort of marry this network of businesses that are very huge and very successful businesses, but have head offices or big offices in the locality. And how can we introduce those to work together through the Tigers? So yeah, of course, it's great that it's local, but we've also got our national sponsors in Steel, Hayfully, and what they bring also is a real willingness to be part of this community, the Tigers community, and the wider Tigers family.
So from today, if I'm correct, it's Mattioli Woods Welford Road Stadium.
It is.
There will be some lovely new branding on the outside of the stadium at different entrance points.
And on the inside, yeah.
Yes. The dugouts, which I've just written down and you won't tell me about, which is fine, but we'll get there. If I'm correct, basically this current deal will run until the end of 2024/2025 season.
That's right.
And basically with the naming rights, you've got the branding, you've got the dugouts and externally around the venue, but you are also remaining on the back of the shirt, which I don't have on, so I'm not really sure why I turned around, but
Thanks, Sam.
Not really sure what I was going for there, but nonetheless. So, with all that said and done, does that mean you could put like Bondi or LTTV or something like that on the old Holland and Barrett main stand because it's free? Like if I got up there with a spray can, is that available, Andrea? Or
all for you to purchase? Yes, absolutely. You could have your name up in lights.
might need some work.
I think there's probably a better solution. We need Banksy to go up there and do a bit of artwork, because once he's done his artwork, then you can sell it. So it would be
at the moment. Apparently, he's in Birmingham or something, isn't he? So
given the option of the stand, that's all you need to do, Andrea.
That's a good idea.
It'll turn. I know, but we don't know who he is, of course, or how to get in touch with him.
but he's probably watching LTTV, because why wouldn't he be?
Correct. That's right.
At the top, it's the highlight of your career. So, look, people will undoubtedly have or find an issue with something here, but I think in all, what we've actually worked out here, or what we've at least discussed today, in terms of, I thank you both for coming on to do this, is actually trying to give people an insight into why and how these things come about, but also why Leicester Tigers are happy to say that we want Mattioli Woods on our iconic venue, and also, more importantly, why Mattioli Woods want to be a part of this iconic venue, so that people can understand that this is two businesses, effectively, let's not pretend it's not, but also two families and two teams of people that are now going to work together to be successful together moving forward.
I think, Sam, just on that, I know that we think long and hard about when we're entering into financial deals that may impact with some of the history and tradition of the club and the fans' perception of that. But, you know, the fans will and the supporters will see this absolutely as a great opportunity for the club to get further investment, to link further with Mattioli Woods, who are an outstanding business for us to be associated with and push forward as time goes on. But actually, this enables us to have a better opportunity to come out the other side of this and push on. And that's what this is primarily about. So I believe that the supporters will be, like we are, very, very grateful and understand that this is, you know, why it's happened is a massive support for us.
And Ian, from you, to those that obviously work at Mattioli Woods, to those that work at Leicester Tigers, to those who are supporters of either or clients of either, or what would you say as a final point in terms of what you hope they can look forward to getting out of this moving forward?
Yeah. Well, I've only got to look to your left, Sam. You know, club first, tough, passionate, driven. You know, they're words that we would use in our business. You know, we're expert, we're professional, we have integrity, we are trusted, and, you know, above all, we are passionate about what we do. And, you know, we're passionate to look after our clients' financial affairs. The team is passionate about its training, its community programme. Hopefully it's winning program. We just need to sort of reorganize the winning program a little bit next year. And, you know, those two things are aligning business with community, with sport seems such a logical way forward. And, you know, we're in a strong position to be able to do so. And, you know, we wanted to do so, you know, I think, as Andrea said, not to tick some boxes, because we have a genuine belief that by supporting professional teams, by supporting local teams, by doing the right thing for people who are less fortunate, you know, it's got to be the way forward. And I think this COVID thing will bring a lot of that together. You know, I hope, above all, when we come out of COVID, you know, the main thing that we all achieve is we're a little bit more caring. So, you know, we've not as a company changed the tradition. You know, it would have been very easy to come up with a whiz-bang name for the stadium. But, you know, our business is called Mattioli Woods. The stadium was called Welford Road. So it seems quite logical, Mattioli Woods Welford Road. And, you know, hopefully that will be there for some time, because, you know, we are building a long-term sustainable business, and we want to be here still winning with Leicester Tigers in 50 years' time.
So we can start talking then today, can we, like beyond 2024, 25?
We always,
you know, with a contract, we can sit down. I don't do sales or anything, but I'm not sure if this is how it works. But
2025, you know, what we've basically done is we've come to the Tigers and said we want to support you more. This is our next phase. You know, hopefully if we're twice as big, we can do twice as much. But I think it's also important, you know, I've seen some stadium where there's only one brand. Personally, I don't enjoy that. You know, the fact that you've still got people like Still who have been sort of supporters of Tigers for how long, Andrea? I mean, it's a long time, isn't it?
Long time, and they've continued, like yourself, Ian. You know, it's so humbling really when you see all of our supporters, our season ticket holders, and how many people are really doing whatever they can, be it financially or writing to their MPs or whatever it is, to get us as a community through this period of time. It's it's very humbling.
That's right. You know, and you know, as a fan, you know, when the ground does, it should be more. You know, it's a great spectacle to watch, and you know, bring somebody along who's never been to a rugby match. You know, that's the sort of support that individuals can actually give. We're a corporate sponsor. We're very lucky to be able to do that. But you know, if you're a fan, bring somebody along who's never seen rugby ever before, and that'll be fantastic.
I think, like you said, with the caring point, I think we're all going to come out of this a little bit more grateful for those things too, aren't we? Actually, we're going to remember that, you know, even if you do wake up hungover and think, oh gosh, maybe I won't go to Tigers today. Not that I've ever done that, boss, but
What are you talking about now?
yeah, I am talking about me. I'm not going to lie. But if you did wake up, you're going to get out of bed, aren't you, for those things these days? Like you moving forward.
Yeah.
The fact, even just to sit in the stand again, and I know we live and die by the sword of winning and losing. There's no question. Let's be honest.
Yeah.
But I think people are actually going to enjoy the game again. And like you say, they're going to enjoy that tackle. Your daughters might not enjoy it. I didn't know if that was a face of enjoyment that you showed, but the sound of at least Namani breaking someone's bones will be somewhat more enjoyable than it used to be. So, as I say, thank you for coming on. Thank you for chatting through it. And I look forward to seeing the branding up. I look forward to getting Banksy down to do his version on the stage as well. And
do his bit, yeah.
Her, could be a she.
Or her, that's right.
Could be a they, whatever. Nonetheless, thank you for joining us. And I hope people appreciate that you guys have taken the time to talk through something like this, because it could have been very easily done on a press release. So have a wonderful week. And as always, don't read too much social media.
Thanks, Ian. Thanks, Bonding.
Thank you.